What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're in the tower and we're live. What we're going to do is we're going to do a live check-in with my vault. We're just going to go ahead and check out my vault, see what I've got. We're only going to take a look at weapons. Look, I've got way too much stuff as it is, but I organized it a little bit for you so we can go ahead and check out my weapons vault, see what I'm holding on to, see what's awesome, see what's amazing, see what you'd probably delete. But I'd like to say right now to all of you hoarders out there, just like me, hold on to your weapons. Don't delete anything right now. You have no idea what's in store for Bungie's weapon patch. You have no idea. And the last thing you want to do is delete something a week or 2 weeks in advance, and then that's something that you deleted ends up becoming the meta. So hold on to your stuff for just another week, just another 2 weeks. Hold on to it. You've been holding on to it for this long anyway. So let's go ahead and take a look, and we're just going to walk through and see what we've got. Now, two things I didn't get organized. I tried to basically organize things by my weapons. So I've got my hand cannons, my scout rifles, primaries, specials, heavies. I just happen to leave these two out. The Praetorian's foil is obviously the king of my vault here. This thing is not something that drops for a lot of people. There are still players that are year one players that still do not have this fusion rifle. It's that difficult to get. But it's pretty cool. There's nothing like crazy about it with its stats, aside from its max impact kind of going on here. But it's just one of those collector items. If you've got one, there is no way you deleted it. No way, unless you got it right on your first Vault of Glass run and had no idea how lucky your RNG was. And as far as the Defiance of Yasmin, well, whenever I was organizing the vault, quite frankly, I just missed this one. But everybody's seen the Defiance before. This one that I'm holding on to actually has Firefly. I never use it though, not anymore. Let's take a look at some of our weapons here. So as far as hand cannons, we've got the Palindrome, and this is just the vendor roll. This is a really solid one. The main thing you want to look for on all of these hand cannons is this range stat. That's key right now. Now, will range be key whenever the new balance patch comes out? We have no idea. No idea at all. In fact, something like stability might come into play, and then, well, some of our weapons we're definitely going to have to re-roll, like my Imago Loop, which is pretty much an exact clone of my Palindrome, except for the fact that it has Hidden Hand, and Imago Loop is a fantastic PvP, that's right, PvP weapon. I swear to you, if you happen to go and check out its hidden stats, this thing is actually better than the Ias Luna. It's just better all around. Everything that you want in the meta right now, Imago Loop is better than the Ias Luna. So if you happen to get lucky enough to get one, especially one with this type of roll, you're going to be really, really pleased. Also, the Finale's Peril, yet another amazing hand cannon, and statistically better than the Ias Luna. The problem is you cannot get this thing. This was, I believe, the vendor roll, but it still has all the important stuff, increased range, and then we've got Outlaw and Reactive Reload. And of course, we've got our Ias Luna. I do have an Ias Luna. I just don't use it all that much. I don't use hand cannons all that much aside from the Palindrome. I just put the Palindrome on and go to town. But this Ias Luna is very solid. Yet again, Hidden Hand, we're maxing out that range. It's a very solid roll. Triple tap, you're not going to really proc that in PvP. But if for some reason you ever took it into PvE, that would be a good thing. And then we also have this Ufern, which is a 2-tap headshot, but it's not rocking out that max range stat, and because of that, you can't really get this thing as good as you can the other two weapons that we've been showing, as far as this impact style. That's much better. For a little bit bigger impact style though, we've got this Lingering Song. Pretty decent range, snapshot rangefinder, not too bad, not too shabby. I imagine this is definitely going to be the next weapon that we see for the Iron Banner. I've got my Fever and Remedy from the raid, and of course, holding on to some year one guns, we've got the Fatebringer. There's no way I'm deleting this either. I only ever got one Fatebringer. It's amazing. It's actually a really fun hand cannon for mobbing, but you already know this. And then I'm holding on to my Word of Crota as well, because it had a Void Burn on it, and in year one, burns actually mattered. Burns on primary weapons, yeah, this is pretty solid, and actually has pretty nice aim assist from what I remember. So this actually isn't that bad for PvP, except for now. Now you couldn't use it because it has absolutely no range. No range. So that's basically my hand cannons. Let's take a look at some of my scout rifles, the ones that are at least really decent and amazing. I love this Suros DIS-43 for PvE, and I guess you could use it in PvP as well, full auto is pretty nice, though in PvP I struggle a little bit with full auto because I feel like I don't hit enough of my shots, but in PvE, really good. And then speaking of PvE, even though I hate the Treads Upon Stars, just because I got it to drop so often, this is a sick roll for PvE, a really great roll. So I'm really pleased that I have it, and it is similar to the Vision of Confluence as far as its stat rolls go. Vision of Confluence though, full auto. Boy, I wish that Treads Upon Stars could be full auto. I wish that could be full auto. That would be so nice. But everybody had the Vision of Confluence. This was amazing. If you weren't rocking out the Fatebringer whenever you were running around in year 1, you probably had this thing on. Are there any other scout rifles here that are really amazing? We did a video on the Angel's Advocate a little while ago. It's basically the Mida multi-tool archetype. The Colivance's Duty is the Jade Rabbit archetype, and this is the one that was actually sold by the vendor. Hidden Hand, always a really solid perk, and we've got Brace Frame to really increase that stability, coupled with Zen Moments, so pretty nice. And these type of scout rifles have a really quick time to kill, especially from a distance whenever people can't see you. My distance SAR, everybody's got the distance SARs, everybody's got the same things here. And I've got this Doom of Kelchus, which I never use, but was actually pretty fun back whenever we were doing Oryx's raid. So full auto, a pretty nice thing, though now there's really no reason to go ahead and rock this thing out. Though I really don't rock out scout rifles in general. Oh, and of course, we've got an Inward Lamp, an Adept version. Yo, KSigKid went to the lighthouse. I just kept the Hidden Hand version, but I never used it. Whenever I first got it, I used it with full auto. I just wish it had more stability. I think it would be a little bit better if it had more stability. But it's a lighthouse weapon, so I'm going to keep it. And finally, I kept this Wolf's Leash 3. You actually got this from doing Skull Loss in the Prison of Elders, so I kept it because it's a primary weapon with a burn, though I really never used it. These weapons, they always had a problem because you didn't get 3 perks. You ended up always getting this type of perk that was bonus damage to a specific enemy type, which is kind of lame, and it really kind of hurt these weapons, these House of Wolves weapons that we got. It just didn't make them as good as the other weapons in the game because you were always lacking a perk. Though, it's primary weapon with a burn, and it looks cool. I did delete the hand cannon though. I did have a fire hand cannon. So let's move on to our auto rifles. So we've got 2 Arminius Ds here. This is pretty much the God tier 1. This is pretty much the role that everybody would want. You've got Brace Frame, you've got Counterbalance, you've got Crowd Control. If you could somehow fit Persistence in here, maybe over Crowd Control, I don't even know if it can roll that way, that would be God tier. But because I never got that, I just kept this one, and this is what I rocked out. This is pretty much standard if you want to go into PvP, and I use this a lot in PvE. Though now we've been nerfed a little bit, more magazine size nerfs and all that kind of nonsense, so I don't use it that much. But I also have this second Arminius D version that has focus fire. And I know that's really weird because this thing is all about firing super fast, but focus fire is kind of fun. It's just a little bit of a trade-off. Again, we've got a lot of stability, and then focus fire, last resort, not really useful. I mainly got it to have an Arminius D with focus fire. I know, it seems like a little bit of a waste, right? Now, of course, we've got our Doctrine of Passing, which is the thing that kind of led ourselves over to the Arminius D. Unfortunately, I never got one with Counterbalance, not even the non-adept versions. I do have a non-adept version, but it has Hidden Hand. This adept version has Rodeo. Again, we've got Persistence, a lot of stability here. We've got a little bit lower of a magazine size, but Doctrine, pretty sharp. It ushered in our auto rifle meta that lasted for, what, a couple months, and then boom, auto rifles got nerfed again. Okay, well, I have no idea if we're going to have audio for the rest of this. We keep getting kicked out of our PlayStation chat party. PlayStation Network is doing something funky. But we're going to soldier on and see if we can finish this. We're going to talk about these auto rifles here next. I only have 2 of these style of auto rifles. My Zaranea D and my Hakon's Hatchet over here. Now this Hakon's Hatchet was actually a vendor roll, and it's pretty much as perfect as it can get. We've got rangefinder, perfect balance, and counterbalance. That's a lot of stability, that's a nice magazine size. This auto rifle, I imagine it's going to receive a little bit of a buff. I think it's going to receive a little bit of a buff, as will all auto rifles. So I think that and my Zaranea D are going to be solid. I mean, this one, even more stability on this thing. We've got counterbalance, hot swap, and then of course brace frame. So we lower our magazine size by just a little bit, but that was definitely my best option there. And finally, for our auto rifles, we've got quite a few really slow firing, big impact auto rifles. And I was actually really surprised by this. This was the Year 1 Trials Adept version that we've got, and for some reason, I did not recall it having this impact size. I guess it did, I just didn't recall it. And my version had some hidden hand, third eye, perfect balance, and it's a solar burn. I actually had an arc version as well, but I ended up having to dismantle that for vault space a long time ago. Aside from that, we've got a shadow price right here, which does have persistence. I really like persistence on my auto rifles. Nothing really else crazy about this, I'm just holding on to it because it's not a bad PvE style of auto rifle. This one is pretty solid as well, this Suros ARI 45. We've got perfect balance, again, just tons of stability, because we've got perfect balance, hand laid stock, and then glass half full, which should proc pretty often with a 25 magazine size. Again, I'm holding on to it because this style of auto rifle definitely is going to receive a buff. It has to. No way it doesn't receive a buff. And of course the Genesis chain from the raid, which is actually really solid. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to pulse rifles, starting off with our God-rolled Grasp of Malak. We've used this a lot way before Clever Dragon came into play. So counterbalance, perfect balance, glass half full. I could have more stability, but I personally find that I like my magazine size to be higher. I don't like to go ahead and lower it. So this is my personal God-rolled Grasp of Malak, and of course, all of you have Clever Dragons. You have some type of God-rolled Clever Dragon, counterbalance, snapshot, perfect balance, lots of stability, counterbalance. This is the thing that you're seeing all over the place. We don't need to take a real hard look at that. I also have a Walt, which is the same type of archetype, but I just don't use it. You can see I didn't even level it up, though it would be pretty solid. I mean, high caliber rounds, everybody's using it. Perfect balance, head seeker, really a really nice roll. It just doesn't have counterbalance on it, but still a really solid roll. I probably could use that if I really wanted to. And then we've got the original, again, no impact pulse rifle, the Oversoul Edict. So the difference with this one is it has full auto, and that's basically it. It's got full auto, though it does have pretty solid stability, so that's a pretty good thing, but we're holding on to it anyway. Why delete it now? So those are our high firing, low impact pulse rifles. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other pulse rifles. Moving on, we're going up to the next style, which is the Hawksaw style. So Hawksaw really came into play, and basically Hawksaw and my Suros PDX 45s are all the same weapons. I don't know why I have two of each. I've got one that has counterbalance and some stability. That's what we've got over here. I think this was the vendor roll that we ended up getting. So we've got that, and then we've got a full auto version of it as well. Again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult showing the weapons on these other sides, but we've got a full auto version, and that's the exact same thing that I've got with my Suros PDX 45. So I've got 4 of these pulse rifles with the same damage profile and basically the same type of rolls. That's where I'm thinking I'm holding on to a few weapons that I don't exactly need, because as you see, counterbalance, full auto, counterbalance, full auto. So yeah, these things are all pretty much the same, roughly the same stats as well. So I probably don't need 4 of those. I probably don't. We've also got this Aegis of the Reef, which we just used in a video, in our random DIM video number 2. We used it. It's pretty solid, not exactly as great as the other ones because it doesn't have counterbalance, but it does have a ton of stability. We've got quick draw and head seeker. Not too bad, not too shabby at all. Moving on to the next impact class of pulse rifle, we've got, well, a Hopscotch Pilgrim that I just got, and then this Nerwin's Mercy, which is a pretty solid one, Feeding Frenzy, counterbalance, and we could max out that stability if we so wanted to. So not too bad at all for the Nerwin's Mercy. And then our Hopscotch Pilgrim, again, Hopscotch ended up getting changed to this style of impact class, and this one has head seeker, glass half full, and I guess we could increase that stability even more. So yeah, that is pretty solid, and we could increase the stability and then get a little bit of that range back for a cost of a little bit of that stability. So a pretty solid Hopscotch. I got that one, and I actually still have one from way back in year 1, this one, but unfortunately this roll really has not held up at all with the changes to the game. This roll really doesn't hold up. The only thing really going for it is that max stability. But the impact class got changed. It used to be significantly higher, now it's lower, and well, that light level can never get raised. Also, aside from that, we've also got this Stranger's Rifle. Now, this is not the original one. I deleted my original one. I'm not exactly sure, and I can't recall how we got this one. It probably came in the Taken King somehow, but I don't recall. That was quite a while ago. But full auto, it's basically exactly like the No Time to Explain. It's just legendary, and it can't go up to 400 light. What else do we have here? We've got this Loud Melody, and whenever I'm going and looking for vault space, I always want to delete this one because I never use it. But the roll is pretty solid on it. The roll is pretty solid. We've got glass half full, counterbalance, and a lot of stability. And I'm just holding on to it just to see if this style of pulse rifle ends up getting another buff. We'll wait and see. If we don't really hear anything in this next patch, this one probably will go on the chopping block. Probably going to go ahead and get dismantled and deleted. We've got an old messenger. I don't know, and I don't recall if I ever got an adept version of it. This was back in year 1 trials. I don't recall if I got an adept version. If I did and it was just a bad roll, I deleted it and kept this one that had Headseeker on it. But I can't recall. That was quite a while ago. A long time ago. Way back. So that was all of our primary weapons. We'll go ahead and move on to our special weapons next. Alright, we're going to start off with shotguns. This is my best shotgun, a Matador 64. What a surprise. And what we've got is we've got rifle barrel for maximum range, in fact over max range, and then aggressive ballistics. So this actually lowers my range a little bit, but because I'm over max range, I'm still sitting at max as far as the stat bar goes. So I get the increased benefit of additional impact plus maximum range. We've got Cascade and then Rangefinder. This Matador is very good, very solid. We do have some other Matadors as well, though what I'm actually rocking out, we've got our conspiracy theory that everybody has from our Taken King quest, but I've got these other shotguns that are full auto shotguns. I have a full auto shotgun in every damage flavor, and the reason why I have that is right now I'm just really enjoying full auto shotguns in strikes in the Nightfall. I'm just really enjoying it. So this is pretty much my ARC one. It's a Dangerous's Retort. I got this long ago. There's really nothing crazy about this aside from the fact that it's full auto. Now, this style of full auto shotgun isn't the one that people typically expect to go ahead and run around in PvE. They typically expect a higher fire rate, and I do have a few of those, and I want to go ahead and show those as well. So we just got this Stolen Will just in the Nightfall this week, and it's that lower impact, high fire rate, full auto shotgun. This is typically the stuff that people end up rocking out in PvE. But the one thing that I found with that one and this Burden of Proof, again the original full auto one that I ended up getting, the problem I find with this is that I run out of ammo very fast with it, and I don't deal as much damage as I do with a Dangerous's Retort or a Party Crasher or a full auto Matador. So that's something you'll have to think about and consider. Like this Proud Spire, this is pretty awesome and amazing. It's a really fun gun, but again, my problem is I run out of my ammo so quickly whenever I use this that I feel like I just want the one that has more impact and I can deal out my damage in less shots, because having less special ammo, it's a real thing in PvE, for sure. So the more ammo I can have for my shotguns, the better. Let's see, is there anything else that's amazing? Well, Fellwinter's Lie, right? Of course, over here, this used to be shot package. It's not anymore, though this still could work out pretty well with a Stormcaller. Go ahead and shotgun melee, get that extra melee damage boost. Still pretty nice, but it is nowhere near what it used to be back whenever it had shot package. This thing was amazing. Unfortunately, shot package got nerfed, taken away from shotguns, and you just got a random perk assigned, and it wasn't shot package. So poor Fellwinter, it has to go by the wayside, and there's really nothing else crazy as far as shotguns go. This was just, again, an original secret handshake. Nothing good or great about it. It just also used to have shot package. It was my first shotgun with shot package, so I kept it. Moving on to fusion rifles, you should not be surprised at all to see my Saladin's visual right here. This is my best fusion rifle, period. I know that slow charging fusion rifle seems like it's really difficult, but this thing has such an amazing spread, and of course a brace frame, quick draw, rangefinder. How can you get any better? This thing is amazing, it absolutely slays, and you only need 4 bolts to kill. Now, if you prefer a fusion rifle that has just a little bit of a better charge rate, this Ash Raven's Flight is pretty solid. We've got Hot Swap, Hidden Hand, and a lot of stability. Stability is pretty much the main thing you want to rock out. I've tried going with range over stability. I'm not a fan. I definitely prefer stability. I want my bolts to kind of be in the same place that I want them to be. Of course, everybody has Susano, and this is yet again another really amazing one. I bought this vacancy and waiting because the rolls on them and the stats on them are sick. The problem is their spread pattern is nowhere near as good as Saladin's Vigil. So if you happen to like these and you've tried either of these out, go to the Archon's Forge, get a Saladin's Vigil like this. You will not be disappointed, and you will be significantly better with your weapons, with your fusion rifles, than with the one that you're using right now, your vacancy or your waiting. I don't think there's any other fusion rifles that I really use. I have this old Thesan, which again looks pretty solid, but I found that I didn't do as well with it as I did with the Saladin's Vigil. The Saladin's Vigil is the first slow charge rate, high impact fusion rifle that I really used and had a lot of success with. So we're gonna finally move on to sniper rifles. I've got a lot of sniper rifles for someone who does not snipe. That's a lot of different sniper rifles. This one is my god tier but not forgotten. It's so funny because I did a video on getting a god tier but not forgotten, and then after I did the video, I got this one, which was actually exactly perfect and exactly what I wanted. So what we've got is reinforced barrel. I'm just using that for extra range, basically extra aim assist, however much it gives me. Then we've got a little bit of a difference. I can use this sniper rifle for PvP or PvE. Explosive rounds and triple tap if I want to go ahead into PvE. Snapshot, hidden hand if I want to take this thing into PvP. It's god tier, it's perfect. It doesn't get any better than this as far as versatile and just an amazing sniper rifle. So I love that. That's a great one if I would ever use sniper rifles. So let's actually go ahead and move on to this second sniper rifle, this Her Fury. Again, this is a pretty solid PvP style roll, mainly because it's got snapshot and hidden hand. That's really the only reason. I guess Longview SLR-10 has a lot of aim assist too, so these are pretty much the reason why. This is pretty much all you need on a sniper rifle anyway. So that's a PvP one. We've also got a really great PvE style one, this LDR. It's got triple tap, quick draw, and unflinching. Again, you could use this in PvP as well, but with triple tap, that's always a really great perk to go ahead and have on a sniper rifle if you're taking it into PvE, but it could work in PvP for sure. Let's see what other sniper rifles we end up having in here. We've got two different Irenes. So whenever the Irene was sold initially by Banshee, he had Luck in the Chamber, and Luck in the Chamber worked a little bit different than it does right now, so I picked it up each week, two different versions. Now it's pretty much relegated to a PvE style weapon because that Luck in the Chamber extra bullet, if you happen to have an arc burn or you happen to have a void burn, is really good for dealing out big time damage to a target. So Irene, kind of a crazy looking gun, pretty angular and square and rectangular looking, but this Luck in the Chamber and the void burn, it makes it really solid in PvE. Do we have anything else that's really amazing or that we want to point out for sniper rifles? Just this longbow that I got long ago whenever a longbow was really the thing. I've also got these lower impact sniper rifles and I never use them. I don't think I've ever fired them off. As far as old sniper rifles go, Black Hammer, old Black Spindle, yes, it doesn't work like it used to do, but it was amazing whenever it did work. You basically, Mulligan, does it even say white nail? Oh, there it is, okay, in the beginning. White nail, again, it works just like the Black Spindle now. It didn't used to. It used to be amazing and infinite ammo if you were hitting critical hits. This gun was a staple for sure, for sure. So that's where it all started with the Black Spindle. We also have this, which is one of the rarest weapons that I own, the Supremacy. You can't get this anywhere in the game at all. It came whenever Bungie was basically trying to get everybody Nightfall tier ready because people were really struggling back then. You couldn't get legendaries to drop. So you had this Queen's event and you could sometimes get these legendary weapons at the end. I got a Supremacy sniper rifle. They didn't all come with the same rolls. This was really nice whenever Field Scout was way better than it was, but overall a pretty solid version. Ambush. Remember using Ambush Scope back in year one? Everybody loved Ambush Scope. Now, not so much. Now everybody loves the Short Gaze, or SLR-10. And of course, we're holding on to our Praetor's Revenge. Who's gonna delete that from the Vault of Glass? And an old Aphrodite Spear that I have, which actually has Firefly on it, and of course, Field Scout, yet again. Again, Field Scout was so good. That's one of the things that you would see probably on any of my old weapons, is holding on to things that had Field Scout. Field Scout used to actually not only increase your ammo capacity, but your magazine size as well. So this thing used to have a 6 magazine size, and look at that impact. You don't see that anymore. Yeah, Field Scout was really great and got nerfed into the ground. We've also got a Her Benevolence, but it's really not the greatest roll in the world. It just has Hidden Hand on it. This LDR, this was an LDR with final round back in year one. final round sniper in year 1, who knows what that's about. If you don't know what that's about, you were just missing out. You were missing out, and you were probably pretty lucky for not knowing. I also have 2 sidearms that I'm keeping. I used to have a lot more sidearms, but I just ended up dismantling a lot of them. I am holding on to these 2 though. We've got the Havoc Pigeon that is hit scan, and then we've got the Queen's Choice that is projectile. I'm holding on to both of those. They both have rangefinder. That's a really nice thing. Queen's Choice is actually a pretty solid one, but again, because it's projectile, you don't get the benefit of a hit scan weapon. As far as my heavies go, so this Unending Deluge I'm keeping. I talk about this a little bit, and you see it in videos, but we never really showed it off. It's got persistence, counterbalance, and hand laid stock. So I've got a ton of stability. I've got a high magazine size. I don't want to lower my magazine size. I don't want brace frame. I want that big magazine size, because this is basically like my corrective measure, which of course I kept. Of course I kept the corrective measure. That thing is amazing. And again, the main difference is this thing has surplus, and Field Scout, again, Field Scout was amazing. Persistence, this was a great one. Though my Unending Deluge, you can see, has a lot more stability than this one. But this one had Field Scout, which was sick. Corrective measure was amazing in year 1. And as far as other type of heavy machine guns, nothing really too crazy. This Spread of March stand, I actually like it a lot in PvE because it has high caliber rounds. And I know people are really worried about high caliber rounds getting just taken away. And I understand that, because in PvE, high caliber rounds is actually amazing. If you've got an arc burn on in PvE, a Nightfall, put a sucker like this on in PvE and just watch the enemies get staggered and do absolutely nothing, including bosses. This is great for that. And let's finally take a look at some rocket launchers. This is typically my legendary rocket launcher that I like to use. It's got heavy payload for extra blast radius, grenades and horseshoes, of course, and javelin. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. We've got near max blast radius and near max velocity, 2 magazine size, pretty solid. The rate of fire is a little bit low, but I'll trade that any day for these stats right up here. Any day for those stats, for sure. That is definitely my best PvP style rocket launcher. Of course, I ended up getting a few titanium orchids around, and I'm keeping these versions for PvE mainly, in case there are different burns and I decide I want to go ahead and rock out a rocket launcher. I've got 3 of them that I can go ahead and put on. They've all got grenades and horseshoes. They should all deal out big damage depending on the burn type. This was an old Tormod's bellows that I believe again was sold by the Iron Banner vendor. Really solid. Tripod, grenades and horseshoes, and heavy payload. Unfortunately, the blast radius is definitely lower than my Suros JLB, so I really don't put that thing on. I really don't use any of these other rocket launchers. Back here was the old Trials one, again, similar to the Tormod's bellows, except for the fact that it has a ton of blast radius, but no velocity. But it does have tripod and grenades and horseshoes. And finally, we've got this sucker, which looks so stupid. Why do you have this, kid? I've never used it. I just leveled it up. I put it up to 400. Why do I have it? Because, well, 1, it is the Dragon's Breath model, and 2, I don't think you can get it in the game aside from one time Shaxx gives it to you as a reward, and that's it. So if I dismantle it, I could never get this again. I'll never use it, but I just don't want to dismantle it because I can't get it again in the game. As far as I know, you cannot get this again in the game. So I just held on to it. Why the heck not? Same reason why I held on to some of my other really rare things. I would say this is actually a pretty rare gun. Even though everybody can get it, I don't imagine many people kept it. So I would say that qualifies it as rare. So that was a walk through my weapons vault. Pretty crazy, pretty cluttered. Hopefully the PlayStation ended up recording all this, or I'm gonna be a little bit salty. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your vault, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #VaultSpace.